Welcome to the Web to Print session. I'm Anthony Palmer, I'm from EFI. So can I ask just, who's heard of EFI? It's good, it's getting better, our marketing's working. Making sure. Most people know our products more than our company. Most people know fiery print controllers. Have you had fiery print controllers? Right, thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, so we have three divisions at EFI. We have the fiery print controller, which most people converse with. We have a software division, we call the productivity software division, and then we have an inkjet division. Today we're going to talk about web to print, which comes from our productivity software division. We're just going to quickly, briefly run through a couple of key concepts of web to print. Now I talk about the why, the how, and the what. So we're going to say, why would you consider web to print? And what's happening out there to push you in that direction? How would you go about it if you're going to do it? And what can you achieve? And I'm going to show you some case studies on what to achieve. So could I ask anybody, does anybody already have a web to print solution or using one?
We're looking.
You're looking, I know good. Okay, so I'm going to briefly share with you some key concepts around that. 20 minutes, I'm watching the timer. I speak a little fast, which was helpful whether to get to in 20 minutes, but if I'm too fast, just let me know. The last group, some people ask me just to explain a concept, happy to do it, okay? So why? Why would you consider web to print? Why is the industry going that way? Now even the word web to print is going to become a little redundant at some point as you see some of the new concepts web to print can actually do. The first thing is standard printing becomes commoditized. You often say in marketing, if you're not any different, then you better be the cheapest. That's the challenge of the printing industry today. You've all had the concept, or the challenge of people, first of all, who's printing? Who's a printer? Okay, right, so you're all familiar with this concept. People go, I want this printer, this business can print, they go. They just have an assumption that quality is the same everywhere, so they actually compare it on price, right? They often don't find out that a good or bad experience until after they're committed to the job, okay? So they look at that. So we say in marketing, if you're not any different, you better be the cheapest. Now, sometimes it's okay to be the cheapest, but the challenge is you can't be the cheapest and not have the cheapest cost. So commoditization means you need to find ways to keep your costs down, drive your costs down, but not your price, to differentiate, to make yourself look different using technology, or actually what we call sticky solutions, which means it's difficult for someone to go somewhere else once you've engaged with the customer. Now, I give you a specific example of printing industry, but the one every day most people are familiar with is banking. So you all use internet banking by now, right? So you go into the bank, you had a bad day with the bank, that really upsets you. It's difficult for you to get up and move, okay? So that's the idea. What we're trying to get is even everybody has a bad day, and we may not meet a customer irritation, but what we want to do is make sure they just don't suddenly go and move, or we want them to hold on. So we're going to show you some sticky solutions web to print. Of course, it's a 24/7 connected world. People want to know things now. They don't want to wait till you open at 9 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't mean you have to be there, but eventually you can create back-end systems that can answer their commonly asked questions. I think you'll probably find on the 80/20 rule, most questions you get on the phone are similar, right? You know, how much is it? When am I going to get it? What went wrong? Whatever. So the idea is to get most of the common interactions down to using the internet to actually talk to people, so we don't have to answer commonly recurring interactions and save ourselves with a high-value discussion due to a extremely important business. So 24/7 connected world, quick answers, always reduce cost interactions and stay relevant. What you'll find is also the younger generation coming through are more and more familiar with actually buying things online. So we're going to see an increase in that sort of, Cash flow is important to obviously every business. The printing industry is famous for actually doing the job now and getting paid sometime in the future, 30, 60, 90 days, maybe not at all in some cases. So the idea is using e-commerce is to get people to actually use their credit cards, their credit facilities up front, get their money before you start the job. Because as we see the companies developing into web to print or e-commerce solutions, they're starting to evolve into different types of companies. And even though we call them printing companies, the business paradigm is changing. They're becoming a marketing company, a logistics company, or a communications business. We'll talk about some of the case studies. Let's talk about how. The first thing we talk about is implementation. Now, I used to use the word installation, but my software people taught me that it's implementation, which means we've installed it and they're using it. Okay, so it's implemented rather than installed. Okay. So I'm sure you'll have the experience of buying software that you've installed, you're not currently using, right? Or you thought it'd meet a certain level of expectations that didn't do that. So implementation is very, very important. It's first of all decide why you're doing this, where you want to go with this, and stay focused on that, because you will encounter some degree of difficulty because you'll have to learn new things, you'll have to teach staff new things, you'll have to get staff to engage in new processes. I heard a saying once in change management, it was quite funny, he said, if you think of Martin Luther King, he didn't have a plan, he had a dream, okay? So the idea was you've got to stay focused on the big picture and the plan will come. So really get focused on why you do what you do. To stay relevant, stay profitable, stay in business, etc. Next decision you need to make whether you're going to have the software on your site or you're going to put it in the cloud. Now this is how pretty much most of them started out, they're customer-hosted systems. So with web to print, someone would come put software on your site, put it on the server, you'd run the whole thing from there. That was the most common system when we first started web to print. Now that's evolved to be more cloud-based. The cloud's become extremely reliable, hardly ever goes down, secure access, so we're finding more and more going to cloud. And what that will force is the rapid expansion of web to print and e-commerce, because it's just so easy. We can actually, literally all the systems in a couple of days we can have you up and going. So self-hosted is mainly for people who have their own staff, their own expertise, but they want to keep the actual software in-house. More and more with the adoption of the cloud. Selling print over the web, I want to just introduce you some key terminology we use. It's generally accepted in the industry, this is the terminology most people use. So when you encounter the process of actually taking on a web print, you know some of the terms we're referring to. The first one's ad hoc, and I'm going to give you some screenshots of the various processes to make it more visual. Now ad hoc, even though it's not the most common, it's growing rapidly. It means actually someone's come to your website and simply uploaded their file for printing. They actually want to print this file, they want to quote on this job. So what we do is we take their files from them, of course, obviously, but what we're doing in the process of taking the file, we're actually making it into a normalized PDF. PDF we know will actually print. One of the biggest challenges you'll have, of course, is you get someone's file and you can't print it. You know, it doesn't print as they expect. So there's smart software in the background when they come online and submit their files. We're making sure we're collecting the images, the fonts, data, anything we need to successfully print this file to reduce that time we spend on trying to fix things, okay? So first, that's the first part, we upload their file. The second part is we're actually showing them a visual experience of what their file looks like. More and more, we're getting more and more visual. So if you change from blue to a red to a white line, we're actually showing that experience on the screen. So they're actually building their job. So a couple of things are happening here. They're actually visually seeing what's happening, reduces the problems of errors. We're also seeing the responsibility of checking the job down to them. So if they come back to you and say, we didn't want that, and we'll still be, you shouldn't have selected. I mean, you wouldn't say that, but the idea is more responsibility, because as you know, in the printing industry, if something goes wrong, it's always the printer's fault. Okay, you wear the cost. Often you're reprinting without getting any money for the first job. So we're actually putting more responsibility to the customer. As the younger people come through, they're more savvy with using online screen building technology. The other thing that's happening is we're actually dynamically changing the price based on their choices. So this document is up to $12.12 so far. We can change the pricing based on their login, so who they are. We can change the login based on which company they belong to. We can change the pricing based on how much they ask for. So actually a very dynamic pricing engine. Now that can get quite big, depends how much effort you want to put into it. But the advantage of that, of course, is you don't have to quote every job. Do you know what the average response time for a quote in the mid to high range of the printing industry is today in Australia?
3 to 5 days.
3 to 5 days. It's actually 3 days probably now. 3 days. So this technology can get you the job 3 days before the competitor can quote. So the idea of that is just instant quoting, okay? Back to win your job, you could actually be 25% higher than the guy who comes in 3 days later cheaper than you. Okay? So that's the idea. It's online quoting, rapid, it's there, it's done. You accept the job, put your credit card in, order the job. Okay? Ad hoc. The next method, which is the most common right now, was ad hoc, is catalog based. Now catalog based means you log in, a couple of things happening, I'll just point out here is, when you log in, we can do a couple of things. First of all, if we know who you are, we can change the branding up the top based on your login. So what a lot of companies is using this to actually, you know, if it's Coles Myer or it's Bunnings, they log in, they can see their own logo, so they're actually a familiar interface, okay? It shows them things that only they can order, so we have a database of things they can order. So what we're effectively doing is we're actually holding on to their files now, so they're digital assets. And that's what we call a sticky solution in marketing. It's very hard for them to pick up and move somewhere else. It's like them watching their money in their bank account. They can't just pick it up and move it using the web interface. So we're holding on to their assets. We can show them what catalog we have, we can show them things they previously ordered, so we can actually bring them back again. We also have the ability to show them non-print. Here's a signage kit. This is the mock-up for a store, a retail store. They log into their head office, they order a window labels, they order a sign kit. So non-print items, that could be cups, teas, anything. I'll show you later a case study we're actually doing staff shirts as well, uniforms for the customers. And then kits, it could be a combination of three. They can log in and say, I want the XYZ sign kit for the marketing promotion in 3 weeks' time. So they get the frames, they get the window decals, they get the desktop signs, whatever they get, it becomes a kit. So kit-based ordering. Moving along now, our more advanced side is we start now to design, personalise, and a term we often use now, cross-media, the ability to get people in different ways and different points. Now, taking one step at a time, design. They log in, they can see standardised templates that their company uses that they can personalise to a degree for their store. So in some stores will log in, they'll see a personalised template, they'll see the standard branding template, and they can actually just add their local store details or some special promotional response just pertinent to their store. The next thing they can personalise. Now this is not new, so to speak. We're often sometimes called variable data printing. You've heard that term maybe, the ability to go in and just put Dear John, Dear Susan Blake. We can do that as well. But what you can do now is cross-media. You can actually look over here. Is we can decide that we're going to send a printed piece first, and after that we're going to send them an email, and after we're going to send them an SMS. So we can actually communicate with them 3 or 4 different ways. And then we use the term touch points, touch 1, 2, touch 3, so we can actually have the event happen 2 or 3 weeks apart. So this week I can send them an SMS, great, thanks for signing on at the bank. Next week you'll get your brochure of all the things that pertain to you. So next week it automatically generates a PDF for your systems, prints the file out, so we create touch points. And when we have several touch points, we call that a campaign inside Web2Print. So we generate a campaign with several touch points. Now that's great, you can generate all that, but the marketers want to know, did it actually work? Did they respond? And that's the next stage of this, is the modern Web2Print, or blown Web2Print, is analytics. We can actually show you who responded to your email, did they click on the website, did they click through multiple levels. So the marketers are actually here now are not just buying your brochure anymore, they're buying the ability to do their direct mail campaign and see if their direct mail campaign was effective. And just taking something really new we just announced was new technology called smart sign technology. They log into your site, they order a sign, but they don't order a sign anymore, they order a smart sign. What a smart sign now is we put a webcam in the sign, and the webcam's watching who's watching the sign. So the marketers actually order their sign, they can go in daily audience by gender, they can see what day of the week, more males, what females looked at the sign. Okay? And we can tell by age group. So now you're not just selling a sign, you're actually selling a whole new product to the marketing manager. Do you want to buy a sign or do you want to know if the sign's working? From here we can tell them, for instance, so it's partly joking, but if they designed a sign for a 30-year-old female, for makeup, whatever it is, they actually put that on the sign. They can actually go in next week and just see if 30-year-old females are actually looking at the sign, or is it 45-year-old males? Okay? So they know 2 things. If it's a 45-year-old male, they don't know how to attract a 45-year-old male. They actually know the sign's not working. So analytics, we can actually put 3 or 4 of them placed around a shopping centre like a Westfield, and we can show them which one's getting the best response in the shopping centre. So that's a whole different discussion from can we print your signs for you or banners for you. And that's what you see a lot of printing companies are actually evolving to, a new type of discussion, not just can we do your printing. Because if we can do your printing, everybody can do your printing. It starts to be more towards the commodity base. Okay, so let's go to the what. This is what I put case studies. I'm looking at the time, I've got 12 minutes, so I'm a bit faster this time, but slow down. Okay, I'm actually going to show you some real-world examples. These are Australian examples of what we're doing here. I often show Melbourne examples in Sydney and Sydney examples in Melbourne. Okay? So this hasn't been done, well, it's national, but it's only done in Melbourne. So this printing company out of Melbourne, they were making data sheets for an electrical company. The electrical company's quite a big company in Australia. They make switch plates, PowerPoints, all sorts of things. And they come to this guy and say, look, we just need to quote on 100 data sheets, 100 of that, 100 of that, 100 of that. So they go, okay, I'll do that for you. But just tell me what you do with them. Show me how you use them. So they took him into the office, and there was an office room about this big, shelves all the way around. They would arrive after you print them, the marketing coordinator would put them on the shelf. And next week when the Perth deal ring, I'm doing a campaign on XYZ, I need 10 of these or 20 of those. They go to the shelf, the marketing coordinator pick up 20, put it in a mail bag and send them to Perth. So the printer goes and says, I've got a whole better idea for you. How about we do this? I printed your jobs, now I have the PDFs. I'll put them into a virtual warehouse for you. So this printer actually holds on to all their PDFs inside their Web2Print solution. The marketing coordinator, or in fact the dealer in Perth, can now log on to the website. Basically they'll log on, we know who the dealer is, they know their name and address. So we can actually, the dealer in Perth can order their actual data sheet on electrical part, and they can print it, personalise it, and they can deliver it. They already have the logistics in place to actually ship things, which most printing companies do, they can pack and ship. We could already do that. So he packs and ships to all over around Australia. So what happens now is holding on to the virtual, who's got the data sheet, so that's a sticky solution. It's hard for this electrical company to get their work printed somewhere else. Now he's providing an extra service. He's actually dispatching the whole thing. He's actually removed their whole infrastructure of the warehouse. They've actually redeployed the marketing coordinator to much better use of their time. Okay. The next thing he did, which is quite good, he actually got engaged with the marketing department and now gives them statistics on each month of who's ordering the data sheets. So when he goes back into the meetings, he goes, you know, you need XYZ campaign, dealer A, B, and C ordered 20, 20, 20, 30, their sales come up to this level. So you can actually see an effectiveness or a link between the whole three. So they actually engaged him in the marketing process. Now what happens, he becomes part of the team. So next time they're planning a new brochure, they'll go, oh, knows Mark. Mark, what do you think we can do with this? Mark this, Mark that, ring Mark. But it doesn't become a situation where he's actually competing on price or just trying to get brochures printed. This is the same guy. He goes car company. Some of these we can mention the name, some of them are supposed to. The car company is actually doing a lot of follow-up letters themselves or actually contracting out it. So he actually took over the whole process. He said, look, I know you get these things printed. I printed some of them myself. How about I take it over for you? You just log into my website. Or in fact, the dealer logs in. The head office doesn't log in. The dealer logs in. The dealer logs in, puts all the details about who bought the car, and immediately the printing company actually sends the mail welcome kit to them. They actually get it via their website, sends it out. They actually collect the survey responses. They give the survey responses back to the head office once they get integrated inside this car company. Now this led to the next case. I got it 2A, just so I remember to tell you that I'm quite linked. What happens when you take on web to print, you'll find you'll do this thing and it'll grow. You'll introduce to more concepts. And this is what happened here. This is the car company. They said, we've got a truck division. And they said, they're having trouble selling truck warranties. Okay? So they said, well, look, I've got the resources to do direct mail. I've got the resources to do collect credit card payments. How do you give me a go at selling your truck warranties using my web to print system? That's what he did. So they went in, so he does this now. He does the mail out. In fact, most of it's mail. The truck companies, most of them don't read their email or don't have email. They respond by a website or forms, fill out their credit card details. He actually takes a percentage of what they pay for the truck warranty and gives the rest back to the trucking company. So effectively, he's not selling them for, he's actually taking over the agency of selling the warranties for the trucks by using his web to print system. Number 3 is alcohol distributors is Diageo. Have you heard of Diageo? Okay, they distribute the top name spirits in Australia. Their challenge was they had competitive sales. There's other people you can buy spirits from in Australia and other brands. They wanted to go to the hotels and try and teach the bar staff how to make certain cocktails. So if the bar staff became familiar with certain cocktails, become more familiar with, they'd use Diageo's product and therefore they increase their sales. So the pretty kind of the idea that we could localise the material, collateral. What they did is if Bigger actually gets an order via their record print from Diageo's field salespeople and says, I'm going to the hotel at North Ryde today, this is the name of the hotel, this is the phone number, I'm going tomorrow probably, and they actually put it into a cocktail menu which is then localised to the local hotel. So I'll give you the concept, I didn't explain this very well before. But say the El Rancho Hotel's off the road. So Diageo's salesperson's going there next week on Monday, logs into the printing company and says, I'm going there. So Diageo has a standard template of how to make cocktails, and they're all using spirits that Diageo distributes. So they actually localise it to the El Rancho Hotel. And then the Diageo rep gets these products either delivered to the hotel or to himself, walks into the El Rancho and goes, I've made you 500 cocktail menus. So the hotel didn't have to buy anything. They didn't have to buy any printing paper or anything. Diageo's paid the printer to do it. And they've actually said distribute it. And then customers come and pick up, oh, this is the El Rancho localised whole thing, hotel cocktail menu. And surprisingly enough, this cocktail menu only uses products that Diageo actually sell. This has actually started to happen in the wine industry. You see restaurants, you go into restaurants that have the menus, the wine industry is printed for the menu to print. Okay? Because they actually know if they do that, they can actually contain what wines appear on the menu. Okay? So once again, the printers are actually doing this using web to print technology. The local salesperson, the company logs in and just orders the wine menus for free. Training company, and you'll see this as a repetitive concept, catalogue based, taking people's details, taking the content on board and keeping it. In this case, the printer went, this is in North Sydney, went to the training company and said, this training company provides technology training. Printer goes to the technology company and says, okay, well, how about you just give us all your notes from your training, we'll put them online as PDFs. Your trainers who are contract trainers can just log on and tell us which company they're training at, the location they're going to, and the names of the participants. The printing company actually creates the name tags, the folders, and then the course content. And they hold on to all that, so it's very hard for the head office of the training company to actually go somewhere else because they're holding on to it. They do the whole thing for them. So they store the training online. They actually send the training kit to the requested location. So these are contract trainers, they just turn up the location, all the equipment's there for them in boxes. Personal thing. And then the other way I just want you to know, they solve the variable cost. This training company doesn't pay for printing unless they've actually had a course running. So if they don't print content they don't need, they just print on demand. Just 10 sets for Monday, there's 10 sets for Monday. That's 19 minutes. I'm just going to Quickly mention the next one. This is relatively new. I didn't have a picture. I thought it was worthwhile mentioning. Retail companies currently operates a chain of stores across Australia. They need localised marketing material, but they actually need uniforms. They need badges for new staff members coming on. The printing company said, well, we've got all the ability to do badges. We can do the collateral. Why can't we take on the uniforms? They took on the uniforms as well. So they actually, when the new employee starts at a store in Brisbane, or a suburb of Brisbane, the store manager logs on to a new staff member kit, they put the size of the shirt. They'll dispatch the shirts, they'll dispatch the training manual, they'll dispatch any collateral business cards that go with that kit. So they do the whole kitting for the new staff member startup. So they'll lock them into that actual customer. That makes it difficult once again for that retail company. Well, not difficult, just makes it a pain because someone does all the work for them. Okay, so what do you do next? Well, pretty simple. Talk to your customers. Ask them what they do with their printing material. Do they ship it? Do they move it? Would it help if it's localised? Look for opportunities in that conversation. Watch competitors. You know, I'm sure you go on your competitors' websites, see what they're doing. Okay? And talk to suppliers. I always tell people, I know some people think all the suppliers are trying to sell us stuff, which is probably true, but the reality is that suppliers talk to a lot of people in the printing industry and related marketing industries, so they can give you a good feel for what's actually happening out there. So as long as your local rep is your best asset, and bring them in, give them a cup of coffee, just say, tell us what's happening out there. Okay? So thanks for your time. Are there any questions?